random streams of data, and then you have to write a report on it. That's all that you have to do at a larger scale. I'm not going into the operational aspect of it, because then it becomes a longer discussion. But principally, prima facie, this is all that you do.
So like when you're talking about, as you said, you started, if you're talking about SOC and all that, you see the trend of SOC was emerged in 2013-14. Okay. And I'm sure that time there was no content available on YouTube, no Udemy and all that. So the people like who in 2023, they are in a phase of making career in SOC and all that. What is your recommendation? Because see, I'm also part of one institute, which is provide training on SOC. Okay, we know our content, and we have other training companies who also offer SOC content and all that. Now, two things are there. One, is it important? Because there is a hype is created. Okay, if I attend the training, then only I can become a SOC. But without investing money, without investing on the training part, is this skill is achievable for a fresher?
The short answer is yes, and the long answer is no.
Okay.
Why
Okay.
I'll tell you is possible, because so I have not gone into a lot of this training
and all that.
institute.
Yeah.
When we started, there was nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
We all read, figured out what was happening. Now, I'll tell you why you should adopt these institutes, and these are the institutes who are actually doing it in the right way. I really do not know which are the ones and how they are doing it. So the problem that we had earlier was there was no content which is available.
Structured
The
content.
problem right now is it's plenty. There's just so much noise around the internet. There is YouTube, there is LinkedIn, there are these different companies who are coming out with courses. There's Udemy and these kind of online learning portals which are available. And all of this content put together, if I was a fresher now, I really don't know how would I have navigated. So that sense of true north goes away. What I'm trying to learn, because there is just so much to learn. So which is why I started by saying that you pick up any single good certification. You don't have to do that certification. Like I'm again repeating, just figure out what is the content. Go through their table of content. You would know that, okay, in network security, these are the 4 things that I need to learn. In, let's say, OSI model, these are the things that I need to learn. In terms of penetration testing, these are the 4, these are the OAP's top 10 that I must understand the basic sense of it. What is a SQL injection? What is a cross-site scripting? What are the different kind of cross-site scripting which are available? So if you have that structure in front of you, then 50% of the job is done. Understood. Then only what you have to do is you pick up a topic or 2 or 3 topics a day, you read through it. Now, how does these institutes help according to me is that you do not have to do this homework. Somebody has already created that structure. You follow that structure, you do the due diligence, and your work is done. If you are not going through these institutes, if you are not willing to spend that money, or if you are unable to spend that amount of money at this point in time in your life, no problem. You create that structure, call up a friend who is already doing a course like this, just ask him or her, can you just share me the structure? Do not ask for the content, because I don't think that's ethical, because you have not paid for it, so you should not be availing it. But you can always go ahead and get the content structure. I don't think any of the institutes, because most of them actually put that in their brochure that, these are the 10 things that we are going to teach you. And once you have the structure, you can go to internet, you can go to YouTube, and you can start learning about it.
That's why we say knowledge is basically free, but pay for attention.
Absolutely. So this is one of the important. If I have to read something, I always lock myself in the room, take my phone away.
Understood.
It is so difficult because you will get calls and messages and texts and pings and social media, this, that. So our attention span over a period of time has really gone to the top. So
Agree.
the only way for a sustainable learning program, you put them into a training room or a Zoom call, you take your mechanisms of communications away, and you can focus better. You can learn something in a smaller amount of time. The return on investment is much higher if the distractions are less.
Understood.
So that's the main principle, and this is something that we all adopt in our work as well. Like,
Hmm.
if I know that a report has to go out in next 2 hours, I'm not going to pick up your call. As simple as that. I'm going to cut down that distraction.
So
That's how
like,
it.
but there's a lot of training institutes offer SOC training and all that. Even
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
so when as a student,
yeah.
if I'm a student, I'm looking for the training. Okay, so
Mhm.
what do you think? What is so? As you said, training companies can basically save your time, and
Mm.
it can basically cut short some of your work and all that. But
Correct.
for the sake of training, it doesn't mean we teach CCNA, we teach CCNA
Yeah,
security, or
yeah.
we teach Windows security and all that.
Mm.
So when we look into the content of any
Mm.
any any company who offer, so it's not about
Mm.
only Wireshark, it is not only about
Yeah,
IBM, it is not about Splunk.
correct.
So ideally, what should be the ideal content? Okay, should be like to be there in the training according to you, because this video can be watched by those people who want to start their training company after seeing this video. So
No, I
possible.
agree. So I'll tell you something which one of my engineering professor told me, I think 20 years back,
Mm,
and it still resonates with me.
mm,
So, according to him, and I really believe it very strongly, is that the role of a teacher is not to teach you about the subject. The
okay,
role of a teacher is to create interest about that subject in you.
agree.
If that interest is created, you would go and learn on your own.
Mm,
And this was something which was true 20 years back, and this is so much more true right now, because all the information is available. I
mm,
just need to have the right structure,
mm,
and I need to have the patience, and I need to have the discipline to go and learn about it. That is all that is needed.
mm,
Now, if you are actually planning something in and around SOC, you want to design content in and around SOC, if you want to train people in and around SOC,
mm.
spend some time in SOC. There is no experience which can better you about your learnings of SOC. If you like, and this is again a practitioner talking. There are, like, this is how the academics and the practitioners, they would like to differ. And I am not academics. I told you, I've never been part of a formal college program or anything. I've been a part of that program. I've been to colleges, but I have not delivered lectures in colleges and all. So that is not something that who I am. My learnings have been based on things that I've done with my own hands. I've missed. I have not done correctly. I've got a stinker from my boss. I've got a stinker from my customer, and then I've reworked it and I've changed it and I've modified it. So I think the best of the learnings comes from the practitioner. But again, for practitioners to go out and teach, I think that world is now very much open. But until few years, that world was not there. So if you're trying to design a program, like I said, design a program that does not try to teach everything and everything under the sun in like 3 months. I was delivering some classes for a particular forum wherein they were trying to teach like 7 8 domains in 3 months, and my
Mm.
request, it is very difficult. It is not easy. What
True.
you are trying to do in 3 months, there are people who have taken 20 years and they still cannot do anything out of SOC. So so it is
Agree.
it is very difficult to do that. So I think the best way to do is you create those small domains. You create like network security, Windows, Linux, those kind of platform security topic, basic cyber attacks, SQL injections, and those. And then maybe just a hands-on time on any of the SIM solution, just to understand the structure. What are the some of the logs which come, and then a basic understanding of what are the different security solutions which are available. Like I said, why do I need a firewall if I already have an IPS, or vice versa? So these kind of concepts. What is a WAF? What is a proxy? Why do I need a proxy? Why do I need a WAF? Why do I need an antivirus if I already have an EDR? Do I actually need it or not? So these kind of questions should be discussed, at that level. And then I think, as and when you start working, you learn more about the nuances. But these are the basics that everyone should be teaching when they are starting to create content.
And I one important part here is basically we need to also understand, but correct me if I'm wrong, Dada, कि, content is basically available, the content is delivered by the trainer and all that. The most important part is basically take the demos, understand how the
Yeah,
delivery is there.
yeah,
Now,
yeah, yeah.
and
It's very important.
the kind of profile you have, if you want to go for the training for any management classes and all that, you don't have a time for 7 months. So we have to see, training should be content according to the need of the customer, client,
Mm.
and all that. So that's something we also need to look for, right?
Yeah, so I think there are two kind of training programs. One is an instructor driven and is a non-instructor program.
Recorded sessions, yeah.
I really think we are at a position right now where instructor-driven sessions are going to cease to exist over a period of time
Hmm.
because, uh, and the reason is because most of the learning, and to me learning is a very personal experience at that kind of a level. I'm not talking about schools, preschools, and those kind of things. There learning is a social activity,
Hmm.
but once you graduate to plus 20 kind of an age, and you are a working professional, or you are trying to get into a company, or you want to start your own company, so those kind of places, I think learning is a very, very personal experience. And so the role of instructors have to be very different. Instructors should be spending time in clarification of doubts, sharing experiences, and correcting uh, gaps in terms of knowledges. So you give exam, you figure out what is an area of your weakness, and then you go to the instructor and say, you know something, I'm really not able to figure out this area within this particular subject, can you help me understand it? Rather than going through the entire scheme of
Process and
things,
all
where
that.
somebody starts by explaining what is confidentiality, what is integrity, what is availability, why these are important. So these kind of things can be captured by an individual or by a bot and delivered as a part of written crisp small paragraph which you can read, and then you can write on your own to
Hmm.
remember it for a longer time.
That's true. So the last point I want to ask you this. It's a very important question. Actually, might be it is very, very useful, and 60 to 70% of people want to know this. You itself said that in a SOC, so much things are there to learn. But as a
Yeah.
fresher, as a fresher, he looking for a job. What do you think? What are the important topics he should prepare? What are the important? So I'm talking about topics, like topics mean like SIM, Wireshark.
Hmm.
So because even Dada, you also learning every day, as you said,
Yeah,
no
like
one
I
is
said.
perfect. Security cannot be 100% achievable, or risk cannot be eliminated 100%. Same like education cannot be attained 100%. Someone saying he's expert, so it shows ego. So
Hmm.
if you compare the experience of fresher or experienced guy, experience
Hmm.
has something with him, and that's why he enhancing. But for a
Yeah.
fresher, the pressure here is to get a job. So
Hmm.
what do you think? Instead of focusing on 100 thing to crack the interview, he should focus on 20 thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
I
the
would say
important
10.
balance.
I
Yeah.
would say 10. I'm
Whatever.
telling
Matlab,
you
so according to you, what is the most important skill or knowledge or technology or concept he should know to crack his first interview, first
10.
job?
So first start understanding the different security solutions which are implemented in an enterprise. Okay,
Hmm.
you go and understand what is defense in depth. It will tell you, starting from perimeter, if you come inside, these are the different security solutions, and try to understand not just what that solution does, but why is it essential. Like I asked, why do I need A if I already have B? If I already have A, B, if I already have a perimeter firewall, why the hell do I have to put a corporate firewall again and spend so much of money? So these are the questions that you should start thinking, and then try to get an answer for it. So learning is a very non-linear game. The
Okay.
same thing you would read multiple times, and you would identify different facets of it. You are going to explore different areas pertaining to a single topic. So
Hmm.
try to learn in a non-linear fashion. But yeah, number one is to understand what are these solutions. I'm not telling you to go and understand how to deploy a firewall, how
Hmm.
to write firewall rules. That is not needed at this point in time. But just understand how a network architecture is. How do
Okay.
three-tier application architecture? What is a web? What is a database? What is an application server? Can something be bypassed? And
Hmm.
right now, with the advent of cloud, how does these structures look in cloud? What are
Understood.
containers and those kind of things? So that's a basic singular box of enterprise solutions. What they do, how do they interact with each other, things like that. The next topic would be a basic understanding of Linux or AIX, or rather non Windows, so to speak, Linux, AIX, Solaris, those kind of things, because they are all from a similar kernel. So try to understand what are the different kind of logs that they are generating. I'm not asking you to go and learn Linux as a platform. That is
Mm.
not needed as a SOC analyst at this point in time. But try to understand what are some of the logs that gets generated. What is the logging level of Linux? What are the 5 levels of log that you can do? How do you increase, decrease logging level? What ramifications would it have on use case creation versus consumption of log, and thereby your spending for your SIM solution? Similar for Windows. Try to understand what are the Windows event IDs. You do not have to remember 100 Windows event ID. If you can just understand 4 5 of them, it's more than enough. 4688 I think is more than enough to talk about in a 1 hour interview session. If you know 4688, what it does, how it does things, why is it important, I think that's good enough. So yeah, the second bucket would be a basics of Linux security, logging, and those kind of things. Windows security, Windows event ID, and those kind of things. What are the processes, prefetch files, and those kind of things. The third would be, like I said, basic understanding of any SIM. You know, how does what is the basic structure of an SIM? There is a log collection module, there is a log processing module, there is a alert generation module, then there is a dashboard module. All SIMs under the world have a very similar structure. They just call differently. In some places it's called an heavy forwarder, in some places it's called a log collector, event collector, flow collector.
Mm.
The rest of the game remains the same. So try to understand the structure of an SIM, because you're going to work. And sometimes I've seen analysts, going ahead working on Splunk without even being able to appreciate what this solution is all about, the amount of complexity that the solution deals with. So the moment you start understanding what's happening behind, the appreciation index or the appreciation quotient increases, and
Okay.
and appreciation and interest is very directly correlation, very directly correlated. So those kind of things happen. Fourth would be to understand basic cyber attacks, by which I mean OAP's top 10 is more than enough, more than enough. Disclosures, injections, remote code executions,
Mm.
what are the
Then
different kind of injection attacks, your scripting attacks, basic, absolutely basic. So
network
that
level attacks also, like DOS attacks,
DOS
DDoS,
attacks, DDoS
packet
attacks,
injection, session
phishing.
hijacking.
Yeah. What are the top 10, 5, 15? Apart from the OAPs is on the website, but on the
Mm.
network side, like you rightly pointed out, DOS, DDoS, those kind of things, phishing. I mean, end user targeted attacks. So again, very important. So that becomes your fourth bucket. You know, the fifth would, I mean, if you have done through all of them, I think the fifth would be to look into some bit of network security concepts,
Mm.
route switches, the OSI layer, those kind of things. How does a network packet move from one node to another node, depending upon. But here the most important thing that you should realize is, again, I really do not think you need to understand or you need to remember how to do subnetting and all if you're a part of SOC. That is not needed on a daily basis. But
Mm.
what is needed is, when I'm saying to understand network security, go back to that point one and try to understand the 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 theme behind having a network architecture designed in a certain way. Why
Okay.
is a router or a core router or a core switch ahead of any of these devices? And do I need a anti DDoS solution before it or after it? What value will I get if I put before it? What problems will I face if I place it after?
Mm.
So so that kind of network security knowledge I would want these guys to have. And I mean, that's the way you should learn. That's the way you should learn. You do not have to learn what a firewall does this 5 things, how to deploy a firewall, these are the 5 firewalls which are available. You don't need to know any of that.
Because it
But
varies from business to business. So you need to know
yeah,
the concept. Yeah. Mm.
exactly. So just try to understand from an enterprise security perspective, the
Mm.
security pipeline, so to speak, or the defense in depth module or model that we talk about. If
Mm.
you are aware of it, and if you are able to put your mind in
Mm.
understanding why something is ahead of something or why something is behind something, I think you have done a great job. This is more than enough for a fresher to be prepared. And like I said, the last one would be to keep making those notes about recent attacks. And if you really want to be in the top 1%, now there is a trend of these 1% clubs that are going around. So if you want to be in that 1%,
Try
go through
hacking
the
it.
yeah, go through the MITRE framework. It's a brilliant place of consolidated information. If you can just pick up 5 TTPs from there and prepare for your interview, and you can be as straightforward in an interview. And I love this kind of straightforward folks who come up and tell, it is not possible to learn 200 of them. I have learned 5 of them. I can talk about 5 of them. I will be like, bro, you are really good.
Okay.
So just pick up any 5. Just pick up any 5. Pick up something from Recon, pick up something from detonation, those kind of places, pick up something from the end phases, and pick up something from persistent and all. And I think you're good. And the moment you pick it up again, so what you need to understand is when you are hiring somebody senior, you are looking for the width of knowledge. If you
True.
are and also depth. If you are looking somebody at mid management, you are looking for a little bit of width and some bit of depth. But if you are looking, and when you are hiring somebody really young, you are not looking for depth of knowledge. You are just looking at width. You just want to understand whether this guy can handle a phishing alert and can also write a pretty simple report and can also is able to go ahead and make a small change in an SIM that would reduce any alert volume that is happening or some misconfiguration that has gone wrong. So
Okay.
this is a large width. This is a very, very large width, because right now you would have different set of people with different skills doing each of this work. You would have a content developer, you would have a platform engineer, you would have an incident response guy, you would have an engineering kind of a lead. So now we are actually living in a time of absolute micro and hyper focused skills.
Skill, yeah.
But
I agree.
if you are junior, you cannot have that hyper focus, hyper skill kind of a thing now. So what you can do is you can have a little bit of it wherein you know something about most of the things that we do, and that just gives you a brilliant platform in an interview. And I would be very surprised if you have gone through these things and still not cleared a fresher interview. Then I don't think the hiring manager has the right intentions.
And one more important thing, when it comes to the requirement of conceptual understanding, instead of thinking about only what is this, you should know why and how it works. Because until unless your why and how it's not clear, there's no point of having a concept of what is that.
You
Because
have to.
you know what is firewall, but you don't know where it plays. As you said, you start your always a question with why we need our ideas after the firewall. So it's all about why we required. You know how you know what is ideas, but now the question is not
Yeah.
talking about what is ideas,
Yeah.
because job
Because
runs based on a
if
why,
I
not on
like to
how.
know what is an idea, I will go to Google and type what is ideas. Google will give me 10,000 links about ideas. But if
True.
I go and ask this question to Google, do I still need a firewall? And what scenario do I need it? Can I get a combined device? Can a next generation firewall do both? What are these different blades called? How do latency impact if I have got a firewall from a different vendor and an IPS from a different vendor? If I get into a singular box, does my latency improve? Apart from latency, how do my change management gets impacted if it is a single device rather than it's a multiple device? So it is like, you can go deep into it.
I
But
agree.
as a fresher, I don't think that is the. Just give me one second.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as a fresher, I don't think it is you need to go into that bit of details, but at the same point in time, yeah, sorry. So, but at the same point in time, it all boils down to logic. Believe you me, Prav, and this is not just SOC. All areas in cyber can be managed very, very well if you have a very logical sense, or if you are able to break down problems, and if you have a keen eye on solving problems. As
I
a
agree.
cyber practitioner, all we do is solve problems. We don't do anything else. At the heart of it, we are trying to solve a problem. Something is happening, we are trying to stop it. What is it? Solving a problem. Nothing else. So if you have
True.
that kind of a approach towards life, if you're somebody who does not get bogged down with a lot of information, SOC is your place to be, because you'll be looking at dashboard. There's so many dashboards, there's so many reports, so many metrics, so many use cases. 500, 700, 800 use cases are configured, and then suddenly an alert comes, and then you find out, oh God, there is no use case for it. So yeah, I mean, there is a substantial volume game that you manage in SOC, but ensuring that your knowledge cuts across volume and you still is able to relate things logically, that
That
would
doesn't work.
that would put you in the race ahead. I mean, there
Understood.
are there are analysts at different qualities and different grades, but I think the best of the analysts are the one who try to try to look into things in a logical manner. Okay, I can see that there is an IPS alert that has come. Why was it allowed by my firewall? Do I have a firewall rule for it, or is it because that the firewall is misconfigured? And then you go back and check. Okay, has my if my IPS is allowed, has my WAF also allowed it or not? Okay, if my WAF, if I do not see the traffic in WAF, is it because that my WAF is misconfigured, or is it because the traffic is not on web but it is on a different port which is not getting monitored on WAF?
That
So
is
then
also
what do I do? Do I go into my EDR log? Can it be seen under my EDR log, or do I need applications log for it? So if you are able to connect these dots, and these are not easy correlations to make at the start of your career, but this is what you should inspire to be,
agree.
rather than going forward to multiple certifications from different vendors, looking into doing working across multiple SIM specific certifications and those kind of product certifications. I think if you start thinking in these way, it generally helps you over a period of time. I mean, that has been my experience.
Understood. It was a great insight, Dada, and definitely I also got a great learning from this particular video in this particular session, and I'm going to use some of the content for my next podcast also. Some, especially that the one you talk about the use case to pick and explain, and I think that's what I'm telling. Sorry, Dada. Guys, just for your information, this was not the actually agenda of the session, but the way Dada has drive the session, it helped, it made me to drive the session in this way, because I think the 60% of the audience, okay, looking for this content which we have recorded, and it is on the spot. It is
Yeah,
not something a script and all that. Dada know very well our agenda was something different from a CISO perspective. We drag into something which is called operation perspective, and that's called the leadership quality. And heads up to you, Dada, on a short notice, not in a short notice, like a gunpoint. Camera is a gunpoint. On a gunpoint, you mold the things and all that. And thanks for that, Dada.
no problem, man. Thank you. Pleasure.
And team, do let us know. Shall I disturb you again for the new content? And we are coming out with one more video very soon, if time permit. Again, it is on a gunpoint, so Dada cannot refuse later. So it's a non-repudiation that we are coming with the more content on SOC metrics and all that. So do let me know in the comment box what is the next video shall be made with Mr. Nabojyoti, and what is the new and what is the insight you got from this video. And definitely, if after seeing this video, if you get an opportunity, if your job gets shortlisted and all that, do give credit to this, Dada, because I haven't seen any video which talk about such insights. So Dada, I'm just asking one question. Can I share your LinkedIn profile in the description box, so if someone
Yeah,
has any query, they
no
can
problem.
directly reach out to you?
Yeah, they can. I'm usually very responsive
That I know.
because I am not on any other social media.
Yeah.
I I've tried to stay away from most of them. I have accounts, but then I really don't go to them. So if people ask me, "Are you on social media?" I say, "Yeah,
That's
LinkedIn."
great.
That's my space. So
That's
yeah,
great.
I'll happy to connect. I usually connect with a lot of people almost on a daily basis. People reach out to me with different kind of questions. There are people, they would say hi, and they would send me their resume, and
Okay.
that's about it. And then after a few days, they will ask me, "What happened to my resume?" I said, "You didn't even tell me what this was."
No, this is wrong. This is wrong. Right.
No, no. So I get it. I get it. So sometimes it is not. It is
Uh,
not. You cannot be punishing people always for their actions. It is
mm,
also a question of intent. I know their intent is not कि मैंने I have sent you my resume. Now it is your responsibility to figure out which role that I should be
It happens
hired
with
for.
me multiple
That is
times.
not their, that is
Yeah.
not their intent. I get it, but they are also new. They are also starting new, and they are also trying to. I know they are also trying to understand what is the structure of a conversation. How do I approach a hiring manager? Maybe they are not aware of it. So I don't say anything to them right away. I just
Yeah.
try to tell them, there's a better way to do it, and that's how we all grow. Because I still remember my first email. My first job was for a large international bank, and I was the youngest guy in the team because
Oh.
I just got drafted from my college. And I remember I just wrote an email within the team. I think I was sending it to somebody from another team. I just joined like 5 days back, and this was my first professional email. And I wrote all like it's absolutely garbage what I wrote, and I sent it out like with absolute confidence. I sent it out. This is something you do it, and you let me know things like that.
I think it comes
And
with experience, I believe.
and I remember my first manager was this lady, and she came running to my desk, and she's like, "Nabu, what is that you have written?" And I said, "Yeah, that is how I write emails on Gmail." So I send it that way. And I said, "No, this is not how you write an email. You come to my desk." And that lady had the patience to sit next to me for next 20 minutes, tell me, "This is how you write an email. You have to use some polite words. It has to end in a certain way. You have to add a salutation." And I said, "Oh, this is important." So yeah, I mean that is why I said it's very important to have your first boss who knows what they're doing, and is not in a the if that day, if that manager had walked up to me and said, "You're foolish, you're stupid, this is not how to get things done," and walked through me, I would have not probably liked that person so much and probably helped that person over a period of time. B, my learning curve was reduced. So probably for me or any fresher to learn how to draft an email, it's a long curve, correct? But for me, the curve became very small because my manager at that point in time was kind enough to sit next to me and spend 20 minutes of her time. So
Okay.
my request to all the hiring managers, all the new managers, all the people who are working with super juniors or absolute freshers is that take all of those opportunities that they are goofing up or they're making a mistake, make them sit down and try to explain your perspective and how to get things right. If that person is consistently making a mistake, then there is a different problem. But let's not punish people for first mistakes. I mean, that is on you have hired that person. It is almost like you have to act like a young parent. If your baby goes out and cries in the public, it is your fault, not the baby's fault.
I agree.
So that is how I think most of us need to act responsibly.
And that is how you also prioritize your functions, and you prioritize your activities
Yeah,
to things.
yeah.
That's
I would only I would only, and not would I generally, I penalize people with experience. I seldom would go ahead and lose my mind on a super junior or somebody who's doing it for the first year or the first couple of months, first couple of weeks. I really do not, because that is my fault. It is not
agree.
theirs. But if I've got somebody with 5 years of experience or 7 years of experience and still is not able to get a certain things done in a certain way, then I think those people needs to be answerable. And that is how accountability is so important in the work that we do. I mean, most of us really do not do anything which is going to change the world, but to a large extent, what we do has impact on people. And this is
Agree.
something that I did not realize when I started my career, because it was all black screens. I was working on Linux platforms, writing small scripts here and
Things are
there.
changed now. Now it's make
Yeah,
a little bit life easier for the new
yeah.
people who are coming. Yeah.
No, but the work that we do in cyber, it has real impact. I mean,
Okay.
that is something that all of us in the industry needs to stand up, understand, and appreciate and be grateful about. Because if I am not doing my work
Properly. Yeah.
decently, there is a high probability that tomorrow morning my parents might wake up and not being able to use the internet banking or the mobile banking or the payment system that I am trying to protect.
Agree.
So there is a direct impact on your life. It is not in some unrelated or correlated way you are getting impacted. If
Agree.
who is handling a power plant is not doing their work diligently, the impact is their grandparents might have to sleep throughout the night without power in their home. So that's a direct impact. That's a direct impact on people's life, people's comfortable way of living, people's ability to do transactions, to have financial transactions, and those kind of things. So, which is why I think all of us, I mean, all of us who are a part of the cyber industry in some way or the other, we should be thanking stars and we should feel accountable for the work that we do.
And this is what this is all about, perspective of SOC, how you take and all that. It's all about patience. Persistence is also required when you're trying to implement such kind of functions, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is right now. I think even 5-7 years back, cyber was it was more of a documented risk, but it is as real as it gets. Like the reason why you have a a security, an armed professional standing outside your building, if your building has certain sensitive or financial things, there's the same reason you need to have your SOC or these kind of defense teams available. The rationale is absolutely same. The risk in that case, I think, if your vault has, let's say, 20,000 crore, then the risk is limited to 20,000 crore. But imagine if you're able to crack through the internet banking or mobile banking of even a small bank. I'm not talking about the big fours of the bank. I'm not talking about a large government bank or a large public sector bank or a private sector bank. I'm talking about maybe just a small commercial bank or a district commercial bank. Even if you're able to crack through them, the amount of money that you can mop up in 10-15 minutes or half an hour is triple that of the amount that you can get through from a van or from a vault kind of a place. So the impact is much more. The impact is much more is all I'm saying. So be responsible and be accountable. I mean, be happy that you got a role which has some impact, because for a lot of us, when we started our career in programming or things like that, we were not able to figure out. I mean, I was not able to figure out, if I don't do this, does the world really change?
Understood.
But right now, I have an answer. If I don't do my job well, if my team does not do our job well, if my function does not do our job well, there is an impact.
Agree.
And we are seeing those impacts happening time and again, and we'll keep seeing those impacts happening time and again. I'm not saying that the impacts are because that people are not taking their job seriously. There are systemic flaws, that there are multiple other challenges as well. But at the heart of it, I think we are exceptionally lucky to be a part of this industry.
Understood. And that is how industry works. Upgrade, update, and notify, and pass. Thanks, Ada. And it was really a great session, Ada. And looking forward for more sessions from you.
Yeah, we'll do something again. Yeah.
And the pending topic is still there. So
what we planned,
I will sure. Next time we'll have that planned topic, Ada.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure. So this is all from our side, team. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. You click on the bell icon to make sure you should not miss the future videos on a similar topic. And one important thing is that coming with the videos and all that, do share your suggestion in the comment box. I'm sure this video will be the game changer for the people who want to make a career in SOC. Because trust me, Dada, thanks for the great insight. I've never seen such any video which covered such level of great content. Trust me.
No problem.
I'm glad I use this opportunity and
I'm
the right person for this.
Your resume will only be interesting if you have an interesting work and interesting life.
But this was literally, it's a very casual talk and all that, and you talk about the practical aspect, which is really appreciated.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dada, for your time, and we're looking forward for more sessions like that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Thank you, Dada. Take care.
Bye.